Imagine being in a position where standing up for a vulnerable patient meant defying a doctor's order. Bina Bendale found herself in that very situation and chose to prioritize the safety of a patient, even though it came at a personal cost. This moment of courage not only reinforced her belief in the need for better advocacy, but also led her to leave the hospital and become a nurse coach. Most recently, Bina took her message to the TEDx stage. In this episode, we'll dive into that defining moment and how it shaped her journey. So thank you for coming back here, Bina, being with me. Listeners, if you did not hear our episode before, you're going to want to go listen to that because you'll be picking up in the middle of the story. But Bina was sharing about her own journey with advocating for her child, how she really had to make her voice heard, and how sometimes it was not appreciated, and then also how her colleagues came together to support her, which was so awesome. So we're not just here to totally disparage healthcare. We're nurses. I've been a nurse for 22 years. Bina, you've been a nurse for how long?
20.
Okay. So we're just here talking about reality, right? How we have different experiences, and our experiences and our stories within the system need to be listened to, because we're also offering solutions and different ways of thinking. So can you walk us through, this moment of where you had to really stand up in a big way because you understood the issue with the patient and what the mom was trying to advocate for, and that the doctor was not listening?
Yeah. So there's a couple, but the one that me and you spoke about that was one of the main reasons why I had to leave healthcare and altogether is the lack of care that people have, or the lack of empathy, should I say, or the lack of voice, lack of knowledge, however you
understanding,
want to,
even,
like, as I'm saying, however you want to describe that. Like, I want you guys to hear the story for yourself and then fill in that blank for yourself, because whatever you put in that blank, that lack of, there's no wrong answer. Because I really want people to understand that even healthcare providers don't always understand. And even though they're a doctor or a physician, sometimes their egos are so high that they don't even care. So there was this one particular client. He was 17, so we're waiting for the mother to come in, and he was autistic. He stated he was autistic because I know we had to get consent for x-rays and everything else. Well, he ended up punching a wall because he was mad. And he ended up having a boxer fracture. And everyone knows what the boxer fracture is. It's like right in here. You come up. And generally, you put yourself in a hard cast for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, depending on where the fracture is. Like for boxing, it's literally just from punching. Why? Boxer fracture. And we knew that this kid comes in, but he's autistic. But he was more higher functional autistic. They placed him in a hard cast. And I've already explained to the doctor like once or twice. I was like, I don't think we should put this kid in a hard cast. Considering that he's autistic, he's already had one sense of violency. Probably should not do that. And then he didn't. I don't think this doctor realized I had kids with special needs. The mom was very angry, came to the charge nurse desk, and was just like, there is no way I'm going home with this hard cast so he can punch me in the face, punch me in my shoulders, or worse, punch himself. So I remember the charge nurse advocating, a couple of other people were trying to say, and this doctor went back and, this was my patient, went back to the mom and was just like, well, this is what the best treatment is for your child. And the mom was like, you don't understand. Like, if he punches me, like, I will come in with a fracture or broken jaw or something when he is violent. And that this doctor straight up was just like, well, that's your problem. You just need to control him. And
total lack of empathy, not an understanding. When we focus on only the part that is our specialty or what we're there to do, the doctor is there to set the bone so that it can heal appropriately. But when we don't look at the whole person, which is where we're advocating for this holistic approach and taking into consideration that healthcare and medicine, it's not a one size fits all approach, but that is how we approach it.
Right.
And so, yes, in a normal situation, my son's had one of those fractures. You do that. He was in a cast. Okay. But he wasn't going around losing his temper, hitting people.
Right.
And so, how insensitive to say to a mother, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Control your child. Like, clearly you don't understand
He didn't
autism.
understand autism. He didn't understand any of it. So when I walked in, I said, well, is there any other options? Right? Can we put him in a soft cast? Like, we have to get creative. And he was very adamant of like, no, this is the only treatment. And the mom was like staring at me like, why can't we do any of this stuff? Again, the doctor just was not listening to the mom. The ortho tech was like, we can totally redo this. Like, the team was really ready on board, but it was really the physician that was just like, no, no, no. Well, my mama bear kicked in.
It's your trauma, like where you've had to advocate.
And my own trauma. So here I am again, triggered, 100% triggered. And I told that mom, I'll go talk to him. I'm like, this is ridiculous. If I personally have to go cut this cast off and go against this doctor, I am. So I go in the doctor's office and I was like, why don't we gave options. And then this doctor's like, no, this mom just has to, or this child has to learn. Mom is being over dramatic. The mom's hearing this and now yelling at the charge nurse in the back. The doctor's kind of yelling down. And finally, I lost my temper. I walked out. I walked back in because I'm hearing the mom, and I told the mom, I'm like, I'm taking care of this. 1 second. And here's my charge nurse going, uh-oh. I heard him going, no, this is not going to be good. You know, because he knows of my difficulties because he's charged. So they understand. I go into the room. I tell this doctor, I said, you need to listen to this mom, and comes in. And something else happened. I don't remember. And I rolled his thing up and I said, you know what? You do know I'm a mother of 3 and all 3 of my kids have disabilities. And one of them, Rohan, who is highly violent, I have also came into this ER and people have questioned me because I've had bruises on my jaw, my shoulders. I mean, we've even got called where they were like, is my husband being abusive? When it was all my child because it was just marks throughout my body. I said, so no, you will not do this. And he said something and I said, you will listen. I will take this cast off and I'll put the best option that mother wants. And then he looked at me, he goes, you're going against what I said. I said, damn straight. And I walked out. Then my charge nurse and 2 other doctors went against it. They helped us. They came in and this doctor wrote me up. He sure did. And guess what? He was the medical director. So it went all the way up. Ethics, you name it, was involved. And I didn't care. I told them, I'm like, you want to fire me for advocating? Go for it. I will tell you now, that mom's going to thank me.
So there's a very significant lack of resources for parents navigating this.
Huge.
And I'm so thankful that you're willing to share your story and how you are willing to listen to the mom, know what was best for her, and even risk your own job, for what is right long term. And so you did leave the hospital.
Yes.
You're still a nurse and you're now nurse coach. So how do you come alongside people and support? And then tell us a little bit about your TEDx, and I will link to it so people can listen to you, and you're bringing your advocacy to a much bigger stage.
So this is obviously my passion, is being a voice for children with disabilities, or specifically autistic children. And really that's how I came out with the silent struggle solution. It's really about those silent struggles that these parents are facing and how people think something as going to the restroom is so nonchalant for a normal person, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you go to the bathroom and mind your business and you're back to whatever you're doing. Like, that's that, right? But for us parents, it's like going to the hospital is a challenge, going to the movie theater is a challenge. And like, don't even get me started on Disneyland, but that's a whole challenge. I was invited for a TEDx, which blessings to TEDx and thank you for the opportunity. And I really was able to showcase a silent struggle that everyone just oversees. And that's going to the bathroom. Yes, I'm known as the pee girl now. Everyone's like, you're known for I have to pee. That's literally the name of my talk of I have to pee. And it's really giving you guys a journey on how a normal, typical person uses a public bathroom versus a neurodivergent or a child with disability uses a bathroom or lack of using a bathroom. And, you know, how many of you guys honestly see children with disabilities actually using the bathroom? Or adults. Like, you don't see a wheelchair person walking in there. Like, I'm sorry, you don't. You know? You don't parents with cerebral palsy or autistic or ADHD, or you don't see them using these bathrooms because they're not meant for us. A lot of the times we go to the cars, or a lot of the times we go home. And it's really, really difficult. So my entire TEDx is around a new concept, which I created called the sensory supported bathrooms, where it's kind of like a family bathroom, but separated, and the toilets are silenced. The lights are like blue, green. There's an adult size changing table in there. There's no hand dryers. You know, we're going back to, you know, the paper towels and the toilets that don't flush. Like, we have to automatically flush them so they're quiet, right? That showcase in the TEDx, like, how many items do we take? And then how the journey kind of goes down on how loud a bathroom really is.
Wow. So powerful. Something that we just take for granted, right? When it's not our experience. And that's what I love about this podcast, It's Your Story to Tell, is exposing people to other people's reality and the silent struggles. Tell us a little bit about the coaching that you do. Maybe it's somebody who's struggling in this space, but we all have silent struggles. And my guess is you help people find that and overcome them. But tell me kind of what you do.
That is really what I do. I empower men and or women that are going through a silent struggle or a hard transition in life, and I make them feel loved, heard, and supported. And that is my mission, whether it's something with children with disability, whether you're going through a divorce, it's whatever is silent that you don't want to let other people know of because you're shame, guilt, anger, frustration, all that's there. Just releasing a lot of that social stigma. A lot of these silent struggles really do go back to childhood trauma or past trauma. It doesn't necessarily have to be childhood, because I carry a lot of trauma from my children, but that was like 10 years ago. I do a lot of trauma-informed coaching, hypnotherapy, NLP coaching to help process that. Do a lot of RIM therapies to help you guys find that confidence within yourself and really teach either the boundary control, confidence control, and letting go of that social stigma, so that way you are truly who you are, but you feel loved and supported in ways that you never did. And reminding yourself no is a simple word.
I love that. Well, what I see in your story is that you had a voice and you've stood up, you've used your voice, and then you're helping people to find that confidence, because when you don't have that, or you have these narratives that keep you silenced, then you continue to struggle alone. But when they can come together and have that space to share and be vulnerable and experience what it's like to not be judged in that space, but be encouraged. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you're seen, heard, loved in the midst of that space. So thank you for making a difference in this world. Again, you guys check out the show notes, because there will be ways to connect with Bina and a link to her TEDx. If you enjoyed this episode, if you know someone that's has a silent struggle. I would encourage you to share this episode. Your support in getting these incredible stories out really helps us to amplify our voice. So don't forget to follow It's Your Story to Tell on YouTube or your favorite podcast app so that you can catch future episodes. Thank you so much, Bina, for being here. And listeners, thank you for being part of our community.
Thank you. Blessings mine.